So I watched the first two episodes of Ahsoka because I didn't have anything else to watch because nothing really is coming out at the moment. Like we got new episodes of Futurama, we got episodes of Bleach, and that's about it really. It kind of fit on the water with when it comes to digital content to be watching on television these days, which is a bit of a shame because back in the 2000s, 2010s, there was so many good TV shows to watch, and everywhere they go, you'd find a new TV show to watch. Like it was literally raining good stuff to watch. Nowadays, we just kind of got shit like Ahsoka. Not saying it's horrible, but you know, it'd be nice to have a bit more variety these days. Anyway, I was watching Ahsoka and I found the first 30 minutes to be rather pointless. In the first episode, we sort of had a action scene very reminiscent to the very opening of Star Wars: A New Hope, with a new Darth Lord. I don't know his name. I could not pay attention enough to understand his name, but he was generic white bad guy. And he went in there and he very slowly moved his lightsaber to block the few blaster shots. But before that, we had a weird sort of like Star Trek moment where they're on this helm of the ship and they're like, there's someone approaching us. What should we do, sir? We should communicate with them. What did they say? They're Jedis. There ain't no Jedis. And then we'll blow them out of the sky right there and then. That's what I would have done. But they're like, no, we'll bluff their check. We'll go into them and we'll see what they're doing. And we'll bring their security. And their security is like 3 dudes. And they're like, yeah, we got this. Yeah, for the Jedi, us 3 dudes. Like, it's a huge fucking ship. I'm sure they would have like at least 100 people willing to be guards to work out what the fuck's going on. Especially when it's incredibly suspicious, you know? But he's like, oh, I called your bluff. And he's like, yeah, I'm a Sith, dude. Like, seriously? Who else would I be? If I wasn't a Jedi, I'd probably be a Sith. But no, he's an idiot and he dies. And then somehow the Padawan of the evil Sith guy teleports up to the bridge and takes command. And then doesn't matter. I don't know. It was very pointless, the scene. And then we rush to Ahsoka on a planet with probably the worst green screen I ever did see. And it brings into question, why are we using these Unreal 5 assets if we're going to just phone it in? And it becomes very evident that they're phoning in the background assets when we go to the next scene, because this Ahsoka scene is completely stupid and pointless. It's basically Indiana Jones in Star Wars again, which didn't work in... wasn't The Last Jedi, was it? What was it called? I didn't see the third sequel movie, so I don't know. Whatever the third sequel movie was, where they used the stupid like dagger thing to like work out where to go, and they're using star maps again, which didn't work in the New Hope 2, which is The Force Awakens. So why would it work here? Like, why are we doing star maps again? Just why are we doing fucking Indiana Jones in Star Wars? It's just why? Anyway, this scene had really bad green screen, really pointless. Let's just go past it. And then we have this new character who is from Rebels, and she is a girl with vibrant hair. That's all we know about her, and she is a reckless child, and for some reason rides away from a literally celebration speech about her and her friends, and she's like, nah dude, and drives away on a literally empty straight highway for no reason other than to have this supposedly cool action moment with rock music. Why is there rock music in Star Wars? Like, and it was implied that she was listening to the rock music, and it's just and she slides underneath a plane. What are we doing? Is this meant to be Star Wars? Why is there no one else on this road? Are they all at that celebration except for her and these 2 random pilots? Like, is this meant to be a planet that's bustling with life and commerce, or is this just a ho-dunk town in the middle of nowhere We know it's a bustling town because we go somewhere else on the same planet and there's apparently hundreds of people working in this giant factory pulling apart ships and space engines and star engines. Why aren't they using this road? Why is she the only one this road? And it's of course terrible green screen, and then it just feels like pointless scenes. That's like my biggest criticism of the show. It's like there are so many just like scenes that should be edited out. Like they add absolutely nothing to the character. And then when she goes to her house and then she gets, you know, all upset because some guy named Ezra, who again, I don't know, I don't watch Rebels, is missing. And he's like, I miss Ezra. And then we cut back to Ahsoka and she's like, I found the map, but I can't use the map. We have to go to someone that can tell us how to use the map. And it's like, what? Oh, only this girl knows how to use the map. And so they go back to that Corona planet with the sulking girl, and she's still sulking, and she's like, oh, you need me, I'll be there right away. And they're like, all right, look, we got this map thing, we need you to like work it out for us. And she's like, all right, yeah, I'll work it out. Can I take it home with me? And Ahsoka like dead stares her in the face and says, no, you silly bitch, we are going to be at war. If you take this very important thing outside of this secure location, you will probably get stabbed and you will lose the map. Of course, Sulking Girl just runs away with the map back to her home. Now why, when Ahsoka realizes she's not on the ship with her anymore, doesn't she just go straight to her fucking house? Where else would she be? She doesn't have a secret hideaway. And then of course the bad Sith people, who we get zero context for what the fuck they're doing. We know they're going after some Commander Thrawn, who in the extended novels was such a super cool general post Empire falling apart. But in this show, in this universe I should say, he doesn't really exist. He was like a bit villain in Star Wars Rebels, which again, I haven't seen. And he's like, who cares? But he had some really cool novels with Luke Skywalker, which at this point, I'm going to tell you, there's no Luke Skywalker in either of these two episodes, which is absolutely baffling to me. Because the moment that Sith show up anywhere in this Star Wars universe, the Jedi, Luke Skywalker, should literally be on that planet the next day going, yo, what the fuck happened, dude? The Sith here? You need me? I'm the Jedi Master, boy. Let's get this shit done. But no, we're using Ahsoka? This person who is literally never mentioned in the original 3 movies, except for in this deleted scene.
Luke, did I ever tell you about Ahsoka Tano? She was your father's exotic teenage alien apprentice, a fine piece of jailbait from a more civilized age. She had the tightest body and the perkiest little breasts in the galaxy, barely legal in most systems. Anakin and I used to double team her at the end of every successful campaign during the Clone Wars, and once in a while we'd even have the entire 500 first run a train over her, part of official Jedi training, of course.
Why didn't you tell me?
So much like your father.
And we're supposed to, she's in charge here? And we get this new general lady who's wearing, for some reason, a leather jacket and looks like she's 22 years old. Yet she's a general of the army. And I'm like, come again for Big Fudge? Why is she wearing a leather jacket? If she was a general, she would be wearing some sort of finery, some sort of good looking coat, Something that is more representative of her position as a general. She wouldn't be just walking around in a casual bomber jacket. She's not some, captain of the ace pilots, She's not from Top Gun wearing a leather jacket. She is literally meant to be a general of the Air Force or the Space Force. Whatever the fuck she's the general of. We don't know. She doesn't say what she's the general of. She just says she's a general. But she doesn't act like a general. She has no... where's her attendants? Shouldn't she have 15 attendants if she's a general? where is her entourage? But she's just like going around by herself with a freaking droid. I'm going to be talking about this droid later on. The droid like called Chomp or Chow? I don't. We'll talk about it later. And it's just absolutely baffling. Anyway, so we're back at the sulking lady with the multicolored hair's house, and she's got the map device and she starts moving it like a Rubik's Cube, and it just magically works because she moved 3 things. And she noticed that these 3 things lined up with these 3 other things in this light show. And I'm just like, really? Mr. David Tennant Robot couldn't work this out? I'm sure he could have. Talking about David Tennant Robot, he happens to know every single lightsaber that was ever made in existence. And in fact, he even knows one lightsaber that was made 500 years ago, and knows exactly who made it, and why they made it, and why it matches with a recording, which, by the way, in Star Wars, there are not recordings. They don't ever use recordings saying, hey, we saw you doing this on this digital 3D recorder. That shit doesn't happen, man. They only have live broadcasts for those recorders. They don't really have recordings unless it's deliberately recorded, like when Leia records, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope," and it was deliberately done. It doesn't just automatically record these people fighting in the hangar with like perfect zoom and being able to zoom in on the lightsaber and go, yes, I know who those lightsabers are. By the way, lightsabers were never an identification of a Jedi. That has just never happened, ever. They never just go, oh yeah, that lightsaber, that was Johnny Bravo's lightsaber. We always know his lightsaber because it had a giant freaking mullet on the top of it. Like, they don't do that. So anyway, David Tennant Robot goes, yeah, we know who makes these lightsabers. Anyway, so we go back to Sulking Girl's house, and of course she works out the map thing, and then she goes, wow, I better go tell Ahsoka, and she opens the door and then bam, gets attacked by 2 droids, who, by the way, don't kill her. One of the droids grabs her, literally restrains her, while the other one goes into the house instead of killing her. For some reason, I mean, the moment I restrained someone, I would just go, Ping! And then steal the stuff, you know? Like, what are you doing here? Just kill the person. What's going on? Anyway, so they steal the map and they destroy all of her research or her data that she was doing at the same time. And then literally very slowly scampers away while Sulking Girl kills the other droid and then starts chasing down the other droid. And for some reason the other droid gets away. Doesn't make much sense to me. And then we have evil Sith apprentice fight Sulking Girl with her green lightsaber, which is apparently Ezra's lightsaber, who is the guy they're trying to find or something. I don't care. These are like Rebels characters. They're like a 2-bit cartoon after a 2-bit cartoon after a 2-bit cartoon. You know, it's fun to watch them when they're in their own like tiny little universe that doesn't really interact with anything else. But when it starts interacting like crazy, it just sort of like ruins it. Like all of the Clone Wars cartoons, all of those Batch 13 or whatever it was cartoons, all of that shit in my mind is just non-canon at all. It's all just, you know, make-believe fun. Like, you know how when Disney used to have the mainline movie, which was like Aladdin, and then had Aladdin 2 and Aladdin 3. Aladdin 2 and Aladdin 3 were absolutely meant to be completely non-canon whatsoever. It was just meant to be a fun adventure for the kids that needed to watch more Aladdin, and the parents were tired of watching the same Aladdin movie over and over again. That's what these Clone Wars cartoons, these Rebels cartoons were about. But now they're all got this super duper significance, and it was all connected, it was all part of the greater plan. It wasn't at all. Anyway, Sulking Girl is chasing down this droid who has all the map data and whatnot, and fights the Apprentice Girl, and the Apprentice Girl stabs Sulking Girl, and then Ahsoka shows up and goes, oh no! And that was the end of the first episode. So we're meant to believe Sulking Girl is dead. Cut to the next episode. Oh, Sulking Girl's absolutely perfectly fine. In fact, she is better than ever. She doesn't even need to rest at all. That's how good she is. She needs no rest whatsoever. Yeah. I don't know about that, Tim. I don't know about that at all. Anyway, so General Lady and Ahsoka go, well, we better find out where they went and who they have. And so Ahsoka goes to Sulkin Girl's house to try and find out some more data, see what was going on. And then for some reason, a droid was still in Ahsoka's house. I mean, not Ahsoka's house, Sulkin Girl's house. What? What? Why would it still be there? What possible reason would it still be there? There was something else I forgot to talk about in the first episode. Way back during the archaeology thing, these combat assassin droids who the hell made these droids? Anyone? They literally, like, you look at all of like Star Wars New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith, there ain't no assassin droids doing shit like this, man. There's like the one from Mandalorian Season 1, there's that assassin droid who's like, looks like he can barely move, and the only reason why it's good is because it's like a spinning turret sort of thing. But these ones, they exist. Who made them? Who designed them? I remember in Star Wars, Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, and Revenge of the Sith, they were huge things about like these droid makers and why they were making these droids and how they went from these really crappy 2-bit droids that could barely even shoot to these like crazy chrome metal droids that could take out all of the Mandalorian fucking home planet. And then, you know, it eventually was like these droids can't do anything against these clone troopers because these clone troopers are better. Yet these assassins droids exist and were made by someone, but it's never explained, never shown, never told because they shouldn't exist. And then, and also in episode 1, they have this like Seeker droid, which is so freaking tiny. It's like the size of your hand. Meanwhile, in literally The Empire Strikes Back, the Seeker droids were like the size of a human pretty much, floating around. It was like, and they had like, it was huge. And even in The Phantom Menace, the Seeker droid that Darth Maul has was like half the size of his body. Like, why is it so small, this Seeker droid? Just, where are these technologies coming from? And where are they being made? Who is making? Who is designing them? Where's the story about the designer of these droids? You know, like in Phantom Menace and Clone Wars, we literally see who is making the droids. We literally go to the factory that makes all these droids and why they were being made and why there was this trade federation making these droids for war. Like, what are we doing? Anyway, back to episode 2. Ahsoka gets attacked by this droid. Ahsoka beats the droid and then takes the droid head back to Sulkin Girl, and Sulkin Girl's like, well, I think I can like go through its circuits and find out where this droid was made. Hey, it's going down the line of thought I was going, I thought. I was like, yeah, we're gonna like go to the droid maker of this droid and we're gonna like talk to them and they're gonna be like, yeah, we got this giant request to make all these droids from the Republic. And like, oh, that'd be really cool, you know, like very similar to how like the Clone Army was made by the Jedi, you know? And we're going down this like similar line of the Clone Wars, except for it's the Droid Wars again, and it'd be so cool, like colliding again. No, none of this shit happens. None of this shit happens. Instead, they just go to a factory where they're pulling apart Empire spaceships, and a transport happens to be leaving just as they were getting there, and apparently the Empire was still in control of this wreckage and salvage operation. It's just, at this point I was literally completely phoned out on the whole situation. I was like, this is just stupid. Anyway, so they find out that the Empire were transporting stuff from here, and a transport was literally leaving just as they got here. And they're like, whoa, you better stop this transport. I'm a general. And like, we can't do that, you don't have clearance. But I'm a general, you don't have clearance. I would know, I'm a general. Generals have full clearance. What? Generals don't have full clearance? If you don't have clearance, you should immediately assume someone at the Council of the Republic is a traitor. That's what I would do, but we're not going down this path. We're not doing fun and interesting politics. No, we're just doing... These people were evil and were still partial to the Empire. So instead of like, you know, stopping this transport ship from leaving or something, they chase after it to throw a tracking device onto it. Now you may be thinking, oh, that sounds pretty interesting. They're like gonna fly up next to it and they're gonna have like this little tracking gun thing goes and shoots a tracking pellet onto the ship, and that'd be like really cool. Or it's like Wi-Fi hacking. You have to like stay inside the range of the hacking device to like hack the Wi-Fi into the ship and like steal its transponder data or something. No, none of that. The droid, which has two like little human arms, literally throws a tracking device onto the transport ship. I kid you not, that literally happens. In outer space, yes, outer space, just before going into hyperspace, a droid throws a tracking chip in space while going hundreds, if not faster than hundreds of miles per hour, probably more like thousands of miles per hour, onto another object going thousands of miles per hour, and it somehow works. Yeah, no, I think my suspension of disbelief is out the window. Bye-bye. I didn't have much to begin with, but it's gone now. And of course, we then head back to Ahsoka and she is fighting with an Inquisitor. We don't find out what this Inquisitor's name is, what they were doing, why they are here. And they have a little bit of a fight because I guess analytics said there needed to be a fight now, but it couldn't be a fight with the apprentice because that meant that I would have had to do some dialogue with the apprentice and Ahsoka. Instead, we're going to have this masked Inquisitor have a fight with Ahsoka, and instead of Ahsoka literally bitch slapping this person down like Ahsoka would, being a Jedi Master versus a second sister who has like very little power, but you know, they get away. And then the episode sort of like piddles out and there's like something about the sulking girl going, I wanna be a Padawan. And David Tennant's like, well, maybe you should train to be a Padawan if you want to be a Padawan. And she goes, you're right. Chops her hair like every single 90s fucking I want to be edgy girl now. Chop hair. Oh, look at my perfectly cut hair in the next scene, even though I chopped it with a knife literally 2 seconds ago. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then she shows up at Ahsoka and says, hey Ahsoka, I'm ready to be a Padawan. And then Ahsoka's like, okay Padawan. And the episode 2 ended. So my review is literally that. I'm just telling you what happened. And if you're like, well, that sounds exciting and great, I want to see more of that, then yeah, sure. But me, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I mean, it could be good, but like, they really need to like think about their budget for their CGI backgrounds a lot more. Like, you need to have a reason for every single shot. And there are so many shots in the show that just do not have any reason. Like Ahsoka fighting this second sister in the middle of nowhere of all this wasted CGI background. Couldn't you have just done this inside of a warehouse? Like, oh, well, while you're tracing down that transport, I want to check out the warehouse, see if they left anything behind that we could use to track them. And then bam, oh, the second sister's there. Oh, we better fight. And then she runs away, you know, and then escapes on a ship, you know. That would have saved so much budget in the CGI department. Like, so much. And then another thing, like the very first shot of the TV show, Ahsoka, was a downwards facing shot of the ship, like you would see like in A New Hope, where we see the Star Destroyer slowly coming into frame. They do something similar to that with a Rebel ship. But the reason why the Star Destroyer looked so fucking cool in A New Hope was because it was a super intricate model, and you can tell someone put hours upon hours adjusting every single little crevice and crack to look just right on this model for literally probably a whole month before the shot even happened. and then they did the practical effect of it slowly moving in front of the camera, making it look like it was really in outer space. But when you do all this in CG and Unreal Engine 5, which is what they're using, it just doesn't have the same gravitas, because it's like, well, they just got some 3D modeler to make this in a weekend, and then they just put it here. It just doesn't look as cool, like you got to use these shots really sparingly, and like making a whole shot about this giant freighter moving through space just doesn't have the same gravitas of like in I think it was Revenge of the Sith, where there was a giant Coruscant battle, and we have like all these hundreds of thousands of ships and going everywhere. That's where you would use CGI. But for a single ship, it would have been way cooler if they actually got someone to make that ship for a month and done it all practically and then shot it right, But I guess we live in the modern world, and it's definitely a lot cheaper to do it digitally, and you can reuse that digital asset in so many other ways than just this one shot. I know it's a small thing, but I noticed these things like straight away. I'm like, that's just a really shitty digital model that I would expect to see in a video game, not what I expect to see in, a high budget Star Wars movie. And this is what it should be competing with, is Star Wars movies, not like having different qualities, like saying, oh no, this is just a Disney Plus show, we can scam the quality here and there. Like, no, go all out. If you're gonna do Star Wars, do Star Wars. Anyway, I've had enough. G'day. See you later.